One very hot topic in Colorado high school sports right now is the new RPI ranking format. We wanted to shed some light on this controversial topic as I got the chance to chat with some very influential coaches and athletic directors.
I think it did what everyone wanted it to do for the most part. Obviously, as has been stated, there can be a few adjustments in the percentages, but I sense that what the football committee really wanted was to go down to 16 teams in 5A. If you wanted to go to 16 teams, that also meant that you couldn't keep two leagues such as the Jeffco League and Centennial because they would just beat each other up and they wouldn't all be in the playoffs. So the waterfall and the RPI is the best way to get the right teams in the playoffs. Again, I think many would suggest some differing percentages, and I think that's fair to adjust it the second year. But we got to decide first how many teams do we want in the playoffs and then figure out the best way to qualify.
I think the RPI can be a real valuable tool. I don't think it's something that you want to make it the only tool. You know, we talked about how baseball's tweaking it a little bit, but I think what it does is it allows, when you take in opponents' win percentage and opponents' win percentage, it makes schools' schedules stronger schedules, which is good. Or it allows schools that maybe aren't as good to schedule like opponents, and maybe they're focused more on just getting some wins and building the program.
One sport that watches the RPI very closely is football. And after trimming the playoff field down to 16 from 32, we wanted to see what the coaches thought on the new format.
I love a 32-team playoff bracket. If it was left up to me, I'd love to go back and play in the Centennial League. The excitement of the last 5 weeks of the season, playing great competition. But if we're going to do that, we got to have 32 teams in the playoffs because it wouldn't have been fair, for instance, for a Cherokee Trail team that was 5-5 not to make the playoffs if they would have been a fourth, fifth place finisher in the Centennial League. From last year's 6-team Centennial League, 5 of them are in the playoffs and deserve to be in the playoffs. So I think that's the rub of if you're going to go 16-team playoff bracket, you can't have 2 super conferences.
Each high school sports season is just a little bit different. The length of the season, point systems, etc. So how does the RPI stack up with those facts?
I think what we're discovering is for some sports, based on the length of the season, like football, for example, the 10 regular season games, we need to tweak the formula a little bit so that more emphasis is placed on your wins without going too far where it's only on wins. So if you play a week schedule, you can get in. But what it does allow it to do is to have the kids go to some tournaments. Like we were in a tournament and there was 3 different classifications there and there was no hindrance, meaning who you played didn't affect your RPI. It was all equal. Okay, that allows the kids to see some different things, allows the smaller schools to play some of the bigger schools and get a different experience, which I think is important in high school sports. I don't think it should be all about, we're only focusing on the RPI and how we're going to get in the playoffs. Well, does that diminish the rivalries, and are we focusing on the right thing?
It sounds like the new RPI system is working overall, but definitely has some room for some tweaks. For Colorado Prep Spotlight, I'm Phil Santucci.